Yo, what's up, everybody? It's been a long time since I've been making video on YouTube, so I'm back. I have returned. So anyway, I'm in Long Beach right now, and I just came back from a volunteer place. I gotta do some community service. Just 22 hours. I'm very lucky. I just got to make sure that I finish it on time. And then I just came from Shades of Africa, where I bought some. I was trying to get some ginger oil because that shit gets shit popping. But too bad they didn't have it. And so Penny Royal called out to me like, "Get Penny Royal, get Penny Royal." So I obeyed, and it smells so good. I feel the energy smells so good. So it's my first time buying it. So I was looking up the magical uses of Penny Royal. I was like, how the fuck am I ever gonna find that? Because I went to plenty of stores and I never find Penny Royal. So I actually did find it. So they say it was good to protect your psychic energy from negativity from other people. It's ruled by Earth. I'm a Virgo, so that's an Earth sign. It's also ruled by Venus, and also has some Mars qualities in there as well. I love the way it smells. I can feel the energy. It just feels so good. And then it protects against Mala de Ojo, evil eye. So that's why I wanted to talk about evil eye, secret enemies and shit. When you protect yourself and before you leave the house, right? Like for me, I make herbal baths for myself quite often when I'm feeling a little drained, a little sluggish. Given the environment that I'm in the place that I live around. You know what I'm saying? I need that. I put it in a spray bottle, like you finish use like the Febreze spray or whatever. So I put my baths in there, and I spray myself down before I leave the house. And when I come back, because you can really pick up other people's energy and stuff. When I was smoking weed, oh my god, when I used to smoke, I'll probably get back to smoking again because I'm more of a solitary smoker. I don't like to smoke with people. I have, and I didn't like it because I'm very sensitive to the energy, especially when I smoke. I could feel people when they fucking angry. I could feel when they got something against me or whatever. And I also didn't like the fact that, when you start we be smoking with people, first of all, it's like a lot of smoking politics, right? Motherfuckers be like smoking up the whole blunt, telling tall tales, telling stories and shit like that. Never quite pass the blunt around, so I never liked that. And then also it seemed like when you're around people and you're smoking, they think that they could say shit to you and you don't catch on because you high, but I catch on even more. And it's like, bitch, don't be waiting until I'm high and trying to enjoy my high and all peaceful and calm, like, to be saying some shit. Do it when I'm nice and sober. Okay? But it's one of the many reasons why I don't smoke with people. I'm too sensitive to different energies, and it depends on the type of people that you're around. If you're around people that's like on a similar wavelength as then you guys can build and have a really good conversation. But you really got to be mindful of who you smoke, drink with, whatever. But it helps me with my creativity. But I noticed that when I was smoking, I was very susceptible to other people's energy, whether it was good or bad. At around the time I was around a lot of negative kinds of low vibrational type of people, where I would pull in their energy. And thinking back, before I got more advanced in my spirituality, I really opened myself up to a lot of shit and been around a lot of people that secretly had things against me because how I choose to carry myself, and how my values, and I didn't allow people to talk reckless to me. And it seemed like to coexist with narcissistic, sociopathic type of people, you have to allow that. And I wasn't willing to allow that. I wasn't willing to do that. You know what I mean? Lie to kick it, and take abuse just to kick it. And, just, I don't give a fuck about that. So, especially evil eye too. It used to affect me a lot as well. And people could be is so negative that I would literally feel it, and it would feel uncomfortable for me. So I smoke by myself, and I use it for creative purposes. And actually, I had one of my best writing sessions just by smoking and listening to my binaural beats. Having a little glass of wine. And I listen to lo-fi beats too. I love lo-fi hip hop. I love the beats, and that was what it was. And so, Mal de Ojo, when you like evil eye, so when you protect yourself and you be wearing your protections and stuff like that, when you be around, if you ever notice that when you be around people of like a low vibration or whatever, it's like they'll look at you, but they won't come near. When I used to catch the train before I started driving, because it's almost been a year since I got this car. Well, actually, it is officially a year, because I remember I bought this car like March 15th. So today is what, March 14th. So yeah, I think I bought the car around March 14th or 15th. So it's officially been a year. Happy birthday, Claudine girl. Yes. It's been like a whole year. But when I used to ride the train, whenever I would be so sensitive to energy that when a group of motherfuckers would come on the train, like hood rats, Nick Nogs and Pygmishas and all them or whatever, they would come on the train, I would feel the whole fucking energy just shift, and my adrenaline starts to go up, because it's like, yo, you better watch it, you better move to the next car or get off and go to the next stop or whatever. You motherfucker, bitch, you could have fucking waited. Anyway, I would immediately have this intuition like, you need to go to the next car, because you already know how you is, young lady. So you need to figure out what you're gonna do, because the whole energy will shift. Because when you're in the presence of troublemakers and people of low vibration, you see. And I'm a very good observer. I have an Aquarius moon. I'm a Virgo sun, Aquarius moon, Sagittarius rising. I have my Venus, Mercury, and fucking Mars in Leo. I have Lilith, Taurus, and Lilith. You know what I mean? So I'm very good at like scoping out shit and seeing shit for what it is. And when I see something that could pose as a threat, not really like a threat, like, oh my god, you could do, but as a threat to my energy or whatever, a threat to my aura, I immediately act on it. So when I would see people coming, I would see them, and they would be talking about people, people that are king on the train, all that stuff. So I would get up and I'd leave, because I already know my heart started pumping fast. Like, oh, if they say something to me, I'd be like, you know what I mean. So I'll get up and I'd go to the next place. And and when I was dealing with like family and stuff like that, I could feel it too. And even the way, and when it comes to evil eye, even the way, if you pay attention to the way how people look at you when you talk about things, like when you talk about certain stuff, like you could be talking about your goals, you could be talking about something that you want to do. You gotta be really mindful of who you share your goals and your worries and your concerns and your dreams with, because all of that will be used against you when you're around certain kind of people, like narcissists and all them kind of people. And you can even see how they look at you while you are talking to them, and it could be people that are close to you that's doing that. You know what I mean? And you can feel it, but you ignore it and you'll keep talking like, whatever, bitch. You know what I mean? So anyways, when you're out on the street and you keep yourself protected. So when I was on the train, before I got on the train, I was like, okay, let me before I leave, let me just get myself together. And when I was on the train, or on a bus or whatever in LA, I will have people come on the train. Sometimes there's times where you can't move to the next car because the next car is full and the next car is full, and you know you just have to just stay where you are, and you're just around these ignorant people. So what the fuck, child, really? Anyway, when they would see me, it was almost like they wanted to mess with me, like they wanted to say something. They would kind of give me, they try to give me the evil eye, but for some reason it kind of like bounces back in a way, and yeah, it would bounce back in a way, and it's like they would have no choice but to be nice to me or leave me alone. So I tested it out. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna wear this oil and all this stuff or whatever. When I first started out, so I would sit on the train, and there'll be some nignogs or pickmeshas and whatever. Come on the train, and start their rise. And so I would just sit there, like, okay. And I'm just observing the scene, just peeping, making sure nobody don't get too close. That's how it is when you ride the LA Metro, okay? And, I was just sitting there, and so, like, they'll look at me, but then they'll stay away from me. So when you keep yourself protected, through crystals and bathing and wearing your oils, anointing yourself, the negative energies or entities, I should say, that's attached to them, it doesn't like it. Like, it stinks to them. They're like, ooh, they just like, ooh, you know what I mean? They'll look at you like, damn. It's kind of like a burger that you can't eat because you want to diet. You want to eat that motherfucker so bad, but you like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Some people give evil eye unintentionally, or sometimes you can't even tell because some people's faces just screw up. Some people have that fucking screw face, and they just like to screw up their face, and that's just how they look. I remember one time I used to leave like really early in the morning, like dawn. Probably like leave the house around 4:30 or whatever, because I was doing an externship. Because I was in school for health IT. This is when I was in school for health IT, about 2-3 years ago, and I had my externship at a methadone clinic in Harbor City. And those who don't know what methadone is like the legal version of heroin. So those people who are on heroin, when you take heroin, it fucks up your equilibrium. So you're never quite the same as you was before you started. So people who are former addicts, they have to take this medicine so that they don't withdraw and get sick. And that's what causes people to be addicted to heroin, because the first time you take heroin, you get withdrawals. Now, I took a drug class years ago, many moons ago, when I was a young lady, and I just moved out here, and I was at Long Beach City College, and I took a drug class. I forgot what the nigga name was, but he was so cool. This white dude, he was real cool, young teacher. And he said when you take heroin, the first time you take it, you get sick. So you have to continue taking it so you don't get sick. And so anyway, I was working at that clinic, and I remember I had got on the bus. I had to catch the train from Imperial Wilmington. Those who are from LA understand. I had to catch a train from Imperial Wilmington. I live in the projects, so I'm walking from the projects like 4:30 in the morning. Go to Imperial Wilmington. All right, go up the stairs, catch the train, get off at Vermont, and then catch this bus. I forgot what the bus was. Probably like the 206 or 209 or whatever. But it's a bus that take you all the way to Harbor City. So I took the bus all the way to Harbor City, and I remember I was getting on the bus, and sometimes other people who are spiritual, they can sense that you are spiritual too. you can kind of feel their energy, kind of feel yours, but y'all don't necessarily have to say nothing. Y'all just kind of give that look of understanding, um, or whatever. And then the people who are not like that, the people that like the low vibe folks or whatever, they'll have a totally different look, stare that they'll give you. So I remember one time I was on the bus. So getting this bus, and I believe it was an African man. I feel that he was from Africa. And besides, in that area, around that area, especially like the beginning part of Inglewood or whatever, it's a lot of Africans. But anyway, this guy that looked upon me, and he just a stare and like, but I never give him a dirty look. But I think he was trying to read me or something. So he was staring, and I see, my peripheral is like on point. Like I could look in front of me. I could look in your face while I'm talking, but I can see like everything that's going on in my peripheral version, and in my peripheral vision, without even turning my head. Okay. So this man looked upon me and just like staring like with his big old eyes. And so then I finally returned the stare. And then when I returned the stare, he just kind of looked at me and he nodded like, okay, I see your energy, sis. I see that you with that. That's what I got. That telepathic shit, back in the day, way, 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 way back in the day, before we even had a language, before we even spoke, we used to speak with our minds and shit. And that's what I felt in that moment. Like we spoke with our mind. But I could tell that he was a highly spiritual person, more highly spiritual than me. I felt like he was like a high-ranking somebody in whatever spiritual system he's in. And he just looked and he was just like, oh, okay, I peep you, whatever. And he saw that I was different and that we were kind of vibrating on the same or similar frequency. And he just smiled, and I smiled back at him. And then when he got off the bus, he smiled back on me and waved by, and I did the same. So, it's very important to make sure that you do keep yourself covered, because you just never really know. And it can affect you. You know what I mean? The way how people, the evil eye and just gossiping, rumors, slandering somebody, all of that, if you think about it, words are magic. So it's like when people are gossiping, slandering you, doing smear campaigns on you and all this stuff, they're conjuring up so much hatred for you, and it starts to affect you. Because I remember a few years ago, I've came a long way since I moved out here. I came a long motherfucking way. I didn't always like have everything set in stone. Like I've been out here for like 13 years, right? And like half the time, so I say 6 years out of that, I didn't have a place to stay, and I had to live with people. And deal with their bullshit. People talking down to me in front of their kids, people using their kids to like start shit with me. Like they wouldn't admit to it now. They be like, I didn't do that, that bullshit, but they did. People that throw things in my face, all kinds of shit. These are the same people that come to me for advice, spirituality. So it's funny how God works, right? So anyway, I came a long way. And I remember the times when I didn't have a place to stay, when I didn't have a car, and I didn't have a job, and I was just doing really bad. I was dealing with a lot of karmic lessons, karmic debt, all kinds of stuff at that time. And I remember I used to really open myself up and really react to stuff, and I kept myself I was so spiritually naked then. It was no wonder I was going through the stuff that I was going through. Such in a dark place. And the only beacon of light that I had was my daughter, through all of that. But when I was out there, when I was living in the IE, I was going through a lot of stuff with my siblings. And I was raised by my grandmother, so I was not raised with my siblings. So it's always been like this kind of indifference, us versus them thing. which I never subscribed to, because I was just like, when I moved out here, I was just like, yo, I'm just gonna assimilate myself. I had into the family, whatever. Have these rose-colored glasses on, but there was a lot of hidden animosity and imaginary ass fucking beef that was permeating. It was subliminal, and they were waiting for like a catalyst for something to happen in order to bring it out and make it apparent and be like, yo. So I remember I was having issues with one of my siblings, and she managed to kind of like turn everybody like against me, which they were already inclined to be against me anyway. But the way how the dynamic, it wasn't a very like healthy dynamic anyway. Like the inner circle wasn't a very healthy inner circle, but they wanted to make me feel like I'm missing out on something when I wasn't really missing out on shit. The inner circle wasn't even healthy. There was oppression and narcissistic abuse within that inner circle, either way, with or without me. It's always been there. But when I came, I kind of changed the dynamic a little bit, and it threatened certain people. Certain people didn't like that. So that same person would do these smear campaigns. That's word magic, right? And everybody would fall for it. And I remember how bad things were going for me, because I had all these people shooting this negative energy at me. I was spiritually naked, drained, downtrodden, whatever whatever that you want to call it. But I was fucking down and out. And that was no wonder why I was facing all this misfortune, was because of all this word magic. This, you know what I mean? You can hex somebody with your words. Words are very powerful. I found out the fucking hard way, and I'll talk about that in another video. But that shit is real. And if I knew then what I knew now, I would have known exactly what to do with the bitch. Exactly what to do. But as time goes on, that person ended up hitting a lot of misfortune too. And they like to be in toxic romantic relationships. So this person gets their karma through their fucked up ass love life and their conditioned ways. So, ha ha ha, I still win. But anyway, I was trying to say that, switch lanes. There we go. I was trying to say that it's that words are very powerful. The evil eye can be very powerful, and people can make gossip about you, slander and all this shit, smear campaign you to death, and make other people go against you because them motherfuckers is weak and they already don't like you. So they'll get with anybody that's against you. They'll team up with anybody that's against you. And I don't went up against great opposition. In my family, on both sides, I don't went against people that motherfuckers was scared of, people that wanted them to like them so fucking bad. Because popularity matters. High school never ends. Popularity matters. Having a clique and having a crew and, having cheerleaders and shit behind you, stomping the yard and shit. That means a lot to people. That don't mean a fuck to me. I don't give a fuck about that. So, I'm a person that stands on my own. I stand against great opposition. I'm still here. I still survive. I stand against people that motherfuckers was scared of. And I still fucking survived. I still survived, and I was their biggest fucking challenge. And that was the reason why I was always getting into it with people, because, I just don't like bullshit. I don't like bullshit. I don't like being around people that fake like me and just waiting for the right opportunity to say what they really want to say. Nah, bitch, nigga, say that shit now. Say that shit like straight up and straight out. I've been around very disingenuous, very negative people, and so how I got more deeper in my spirituality was the need for having to protect myself, starting to do a lot of research, and I got so deep, like, you know what I mean, from 2015, I would say 2014 it started to begin, because certain things wasn't resonating with me no more. Like, I was trying to do church, I was trying to do church and it just wasn't resonating. That shit was some bullshit. Oh my God. They will play off your motherfucking feelings, and as soon as you start crying, they'll bring up. Let me tell you about this church I went to when I was trying, and it was okay. It was okay for a while, but then I kind of realized the psychological game that they were playing, and it turned me off, and I stopped going. So anyway, me and my sister was going to this church. Those who are in the area know what I mean. It's called the Universal Church. So it's in Long Beach. The one that we went to was in Long Beach, Anaheim and Pine. Yeah, Anaheim and Pine. So anyway, he was going to the church, and it was headed by this guy. He was fine too. Fine older guy. He used to kind of look at me a little bit, but I was like, ew. Anyway, but he was a black Brazilian man, him and his wife, and they headed the church. He was the preacher or whatever. So when we used to go, he would come out and they would start playing this sad ass fucking music, and he would come out and he'd be like, oh, you go through all of this, you get an eviction letter, you get a letter from your county worker, say they cut your stamps off, your car just got towed, this and this, somebody broke your heart, you're poor, and everybody be like, oh my God, yeah, that's me. And I used to literally feel like this nigga was in my life. Like, damn, nigga, you know a little bit too much. Like, you got a camera, like, you know what I'm saying? You got a candid camera on me, like, what's up? He would start saying, oh, you're going through this poverty, sickness, oh my God, you're going through all of that, and we would be crying. I fell for the shits, because I was going through a lot of shit, you feel me? Like, you the black sheep of your family, you go through this, you go through that, oh. And I start the boo-hoo crying. Everybody in the motherfucker crying. As soon as their tears drop, fuck, they come out with their motherfucking offering plates and start walking around. And I tell you, the church service was only for a fucking hour, my G. An hour. A power hour of bullshit. This shit was a motherfucking hour. And they passed around that motherfucker like 3-4 times. I swear to God. So I fell for it. And after a while, I got tired. I said, Cuba, you notice this pattern, yo? Like, I told my sister, like, you notice this pattern. Every time we come, they get us crying. And then when we crying and totally at our weakest moment, we're like digging in our pockets, giving them money. This is some fucking bullshit. And then there was a time, go ahead, young lady. There was a time, where he was saying, oh, don't go. I think he got a sense. He read me up and down too. And I think he sensed that I was into other shit, but I was still going to church anyway. So he sensed that I was a different type of person, where I kind of was not really a believer, but I'm like, yo, I'm just here. Any kind of help you want to give me, whatever, I really don't care. And I think he got that sense about me, right? So he started to make sermons like, oh, don't look into astrology, don't go see soothsayers, psychics, don't do this, don't do that. But ironically, so a lot of churches do rituals. We all know this, like, the communion, because I grew up in Catholic church, because that's part of my culture, the gritty fun spirituality. They mix it up with Catholic dogma and African spirituality. But I've denounced the Catholic part, obviously, after a while. But a lot of gritty fun Americans are Catholic Christians, right? But they're the communion in the Catholic Church, where they say, oh, you eat the bread of Christ. That's the bread. Yeah, they give you a cracker, then they give you some grape, or they might give you some grape wine, some Manischewitz wine. That's good. And they'll give you that, and oh, this is the blood of Jesus. Like, that's fucking rituals. They burn sage, they burn 3 Kings incense, sometimes copal. I smelled copal at a church before. I smelled 3 Kings at a church before. They burn sage, they light candles. Obviously, the Bible's a book of fucking spells. Hello. They have the quote-unquote Holy Spirit, which really be some motherfucking demons and shit. Not like I have a problem with demons, but it is what it is. all kinds of stuff. So they do all kind of rituals. And then in the Universal Church, this guy, I forgot his name, but this guy, he he would take our bills and stuff, and he did help us for a while. But I think they was doing ritual stuff too. You know, there's a lot of witchcraft in the church, but they just like to disguise it and dress it up so it could look all proper. But he gave us, he was like, because I would tell him what my problems was at the time. Like I said, I was doing bad, or whatever. It was before I had got my place, and let me get turned right here. And he was like, I was like telling him, you know, I had problems with my bills, and come on, hurry up, my nigga. Taking too long, man. Hurry up, my ass up. I gotta go. Y'all taking too long. Shit, fuck this shit. Anyway, but I was telling him, you know, I had problems with my, you know how it is back in the days, you know. I had a problem with the county. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm gonna be completely transparent with you guys, but you know, I had issues with my county case. You know how they do. They don't know how to fucking talk to people. They're very lazy. You do your part. You turn in your paperwork on time, and it's like a runaround. You leave multiple messages. They don't reach back to you. Next thing you know, they send you a letter and say you cut off, and then you know that shit can get real crazy. So, so stuff was happening to me with that in terms of that and the child care agency. I was getting a lot of runaround. So, and then on top of that, like 14-day notices. Like I went through a lot of shit. So I gave him my county letters and, you know, 14-day notice stuff. And he said he would pray over it, put oil on it. Go ahead, sis. He would pray on it, put oil on it, and all this stuff. So I'm like, yo, that's motherfucking ritual. But it did work, though. He prayed on it, and I told him, I said, I don't have no problem with it. I said, as long as you are praying for me and putting good energy towards me, I'm not a picky person. So he already kind of had a sense that I wasn't entirely religious, but I was just seeking help from anywhere. So I would give it to him, and he would keep it in his church overnight. And he said, you know, anybody that have problems, whatever, you know, we'll pray over it. We'll pray, and then we'll put oil on it, and we have incense. And then he used to give us incense. He used to give us cards, prayer incense, prayer cards, and stuff like that. Stuff to put under our pillow and all that shit. So that sounded like magic to me. But anyway, so he ended up leaving. And I think he ended up going to Florida, and they was going to open up a bigger church. So the Universal Church, they expanded, you know what I mean? And he was telling us about a huge mega church. I'm telling you, this place looked immaculate. If you look up the mega church, the mega Universal Church in fucking Brazil, because he was trying to do a trip thing the last time I was there. He was doing some kind of trip thing. Where everybody was going to go to Brazil and go visit this mega church. You could tell this church took billions and billions and billions of dollars. And you can imagine a church that's worth that much, and it's surrounded by people who are living in poverty and shit. This place was gold plated, like on the outside. Like I can't even just begin to explain how immaculate this fucking place looked. But it just lets you know that they definitely have monetized. You know, church is a business. It's definitely as monetized, and you know, it just definitely showed. So he ended up moving to Miami or whatever, and is it blinking because a train is coming? What the fuck is going on here, honey? This is strange. I'm just gonna go ahead with the go ahead. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't want to be stuck on the motherfucking tracks now. No. We're not doing that. Anyway, I do not want to be stuck on the motherfucking tracks. Okay. But yeah, after that shit, I was just like, but it did work. Like, I remember things started to turn around, and me and my sister was like, wow, I guess going to church is cool. Da, 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 da. Meanwhile, I was still studying occultism while I was going to church. I started to get into Phil Valentine, Bobby Hammett, and Delbert Blair. I used to go to sleep at night listening to him. His voice is so like relaxing. I was so sad when I found out that he passed. I was just so like, poor thing. Well, actually, no, he's better off than us, right? But I remember just feeling like some kind of way when he passed, because I was listening to him and I felt like I knew him. I felt such a connection to him, like a grandfatherly connection. He actually resembles my grandfather, actually, on my dad's side. I think that's why I kind of felt like a connection with him, listening to him and everything. So I started to get more deeper and deeper. I actually had a dream that kind of prompted me to dig deep. I knew what it was like to die. I had this dream where, like, basically I was going through the 5 stages of death. When I went to nursing school, certified nurse assistant school, we learned about that. We learned about the 5 stages of grief, and we learned about the 5 stages of death, accepting death or whatever. So those who know, look it up. But basically it's like denial, then anger, then bargaining, then depression. It's denial, anger, bargaining, then depression, and then acceptance. That's the 5 stages of dying when you're told that you're going to die. We learned that the last thing to go when you die is your hearing. You'll lose your sight before you lose your hearing. So in that dream that I had, I was on a hospital bed. It was blurry, but I had people around me. Heard sniffles and soft talking, crying, shit like that, And I remember the 4 corners of my sight started going into the middle, like a little ball. And just like how you turn off the TV and that little ball goes off, like, boop, that's what happened. So in my dream, I was very conscious. And I said, oh my God, I'm about to die. I'm about to die. And when my eyesight going, I said, dang, okay. And I remembered the class. I remember what that lady said. The last thing to go is your hearing. And that's exactly what happened. So the last thing to go was my hearing. And I it's almost like you slowly turn off the, I'm using the TV again. But it's almost like you slowly turn down the you remember those old school TVs you would use the volume button to turn it off? It was like you would slowly turn it down until you turn it off. And that was what it was. I heard crying, and then the crying got lower and lower and lower and lower, and I didn't hear anything no more. Then I felt a lot of air on top of my head. And I tilted. My body tilted like 90 degrees backwards. I felt like my body was like this, where my fingers were like that. I mean, my fingers is my head, right? So I'm like this. And I feel a lot of air, and I hear a loud noises, like thunderclaps, kind of like, or airplane noises, kind of. Oh, but shortly before I felt that, I felt all the breath left my mouth. All the breath that I had came out. Like I took my last breath. And that shit, it felt like so much pressure. It damn near hurt it. My throat. I felt everything, all of my breath, all of my life, all of my fucking energy just like came out of my mouth. And it was like, have you ever like inhaled all the air out of your belly? It was like that, but just like more intense. So I knew that was my life, my soul coming out of my mouth or some shit like that. And that's when I felt my body tilt, and then I felt all the, the breeze and the loud noises, and then, then I saw a lot of white light and all this stuff. And I immediately woke up, and I woke up in a sweat, and I was breathing hard as fuck. I was like, what the fuck was that, right? 2 weeks later, one of my good friends that I went to Job Corps with in Baltimore, one of my good friends passed away. She had a lot of health complications. First it was cancer, then it was this, then it was that. And she had passed. And the night that she had passed, or maybe the day before, I think she had came to visit me at my house because I was taking a shower upstairs and my daughter was downstairs. I had the TV at the time. I had cable, and I had it on a TV show, a children's TV show. I think it's called the Children's Channel. I had that going, and my daughter was downstairs, eating her little snacks and watching TV. And I said, "Oh, let me go upstairs and take a shower right quick." And I started to hear my daughter giggling and laughing and running back and forth, like, "Stop, stop, I was like, okay. So I started to hear her like laugh and like, like she playing with somebody, like. And I just thought that was I was damn near kind of scared, like, what the fuck? I think she came to visit my daughter just to play around with her and, like, whatever. And my daughter is very, like, sensitive to spirits. My daughter is a Aquarius Pisces. She was born in 2011 when they discovered the planet of Chiron. So those babies who were born around that time, from what I read, the zodiac signs go backwards for them. So technically she would be a Pisces, but she's an Aquarius. So she has both of those energies. And she's also a rising Virgo. Anyway, so I just hear her just laughing and running like, ha 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 ha, tickle. And then I come out and I'm like, Lakari. I come out the shower and I'm wet and stuff, and I'm coming out. And then I hear, Cassie, like that. And I hear her fucking voice. I'm like, I didn't know how to react to it. I was just like, I'm just gonna act like I didn't hear that. Yeah, okay. But that was the day before I found out that she died. That was like literally the day before I found out that she died. So she literally died like April 14th. And I think I heard that like the day before. And I found out through Facebook because I got a lot of people that I used to go to Job Corps with. I don't really talk to them like that on Facebook like that, but every now and then we like each other pics or whatever, But anyway, I really didn't have no really friends there. I had people that I was cool with. I don't have nothing against, we weren't friends, but we just know each other, and I didn't have no issue with them, so I just keep them on my shit. But me and Ariel was friends, and I had, we had like a little group of us that we all hung out together, and my cousin was included. My cousin came in with her. I got there before them, and then a month later my cousin came in with them, and we were just all one big group. We was all one big social group. But me and Ariel were friends, good friends, and she made my time easier there, very pleasant there. We spent a lot of time together, and I miss her. I love her. I love Ariel, But she said, Cassie, like that. And I was just like, and I heard it, like a whisper. And I just didn't think nothing of it. But I knew she was sick. She was sending me inboxes, and me and her would talk, and she would tell me all the treatment she was going under, all the pain she was in. She really wanted to live so bad, but her body just wouldn't give her the chance. And so I knew, we started talking to each other on the phone, and she told me that she inboxed and told me I only got 8 months to live, and I just started crying, and we talked on the phone, and every time we talked on the phone, when I would leave, I would tell you, I say, Ariel, I love you. I would have like a crack in my voice and shit. I'd be like, I love you. And she'd be like, I love you too, girl. And I always made it a thing to say, and I never told a friend that I don't even like bitches. I don't even like nobody. I'm really not a people person. You know what I'm saying? But that was the first and only friend that I ever said I love you before I got off the phone with her. Because I didn't know when it was going to be the last time I was going to talk to her. Every conversation we had, I always kept thinking this is going to be our last. So I always made sure I told my friend that I love her. And I really felt it from the bottom of my heart. And she said she loved me back. And that meant a lot to me. I miss her so much. But anyway, yeah. So I didn't find out she passed on Facebook. Like I said, I got people, on our page, you know, and everybody started tagging and saying R.I.P. Ariel, and I'm on the train. I'm like, what? What the fuck? So I was so fucking heartbroken. Like, when I found out through Facebook, that shit hurt my fucking heart. You know what I mean? So anyway, when went through that dream, that dream kind of catapulted me into figuring out what the fuck was that about. And I'm still figuring it out, but I was able to get the gist of it. Basically, I guess I was her in the dream. I guess I was her. I felt what it was like to die. I felt what it was like to take your first breath and all that. I felt that shit. And I think that's what it was. I was in tune to her. I felt that. And I felt those last moments. And I definitely feel like she came to me to say hello to my daughter and to say goodbye to me. So things have gotten, what time is it now? 1:01. Okay, I got to pick up my daughter in about an hour, so I got some time. I should have dressed up for the gym, but I'm going to wait till later to go to the gym. I've been doing so good. I don't want to fuck it up. But yeah, I end up delving more deeper into my spirituality right after that, because just trying to make sense of what that was. Fuck, I got piss again too. But I've never looked back ever since. It started off with me just wanting to protect myself, and it just took a life of its own. And my life has greatly improved, since then. It has improved a whole lot. When I think back all the times that I was spiritually naked and going through the stuff that I was going through, I'd be shaking my head. But you know what? I had to go through that. I had to go through that to get to this point. And I'm growing and evolving every day. I'm learning new stuff about myself. And I realize that when situations don't fit you no more, the universe will make it so that things will happen, and it'll appear to be a bad thing, but it's really a blessing in disguise. Several doors have closed in my face, but several windows, like spirit will always leave like a window or a back door open. It always finds a way for it to benefit me. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I've been through a lot of stuff, and I realized the importance of keeping yourself spiritually clean. And it's not easy, because when you live in environments like this, it's a lot of things attacking your energy. I got motherfuckers that'll give me looks, but they stay the fuck away from me. They stay the fuck away from me. They may look upon me, but they don't fuck with me, and that's good. That's good for you and better for me. If you love it, I fucking like it. You know what I'm saying? But they can't penetrate. They can't get to me, And to me, I feel like if you already fucking have a problem with me, we would have been done did what we had to do already. So that's just some weak ass, imaginary beef ass shit, But they know I'm with the shits. They know I walk with spirits that will fuck their asses up. I walk with ancestors that will fuck your asses up. Oh no.
It's like another world.
My life got better when I started fucking with my ancestors. I looked up how to venerate ancestors, and all that. I started burning ancestor money. I created an altar. I don't remember how long I had my altar. I think I had my altar like, let me see, the first time I made my altar. A cigarette. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, dollar more than I had before. Ow. Anyway, I started working with the ancestors, and I'm the only one that works for my ancestors. The only one. Somebody had to do it, right? So I started looking it up, and I think I had my ancestor altar. I think I set it up in 2015, I believe. I bought a table from a nice little thrift store. Of course, I cleansed it and all that, and I started to, and I called my auntie up and asked her of names of our elders, great greats and all that stuff, and we can't go as far back as we would like to, but since I'll be going to Belize in April, I'm hoping that. Oh, then got a nice bike. Since I'm going back to Belize in April, I'm hoping that I can get more names and get maybe even some photographs of our elders and stuff so that I can put it on my ancestor altar and get in tune with them too. So I made that altar. I wrote down the names on a cardboard and stuff like that. If I didn't know their full names, at least I knew their surnames. And I started to make sure I put the elements on the ancestor altar, which of course you need air, earth, fire, water. So of course I had a candle burning, fire. I would have the ancestral incense, that's the air. Then I have like plants, that's the earth. You know what I mean? And so since I had my ancestor altar, I noticed a huge change once I started connecting with my ancestors. I noticed a huge change. I love that vibe, that Rasta vibe. I had my little Rasta phase a couple of years back, many moons ago. I just don't like the patriarchy shit and the Bible thumping shit, but I do fucks with the Psalms because that spells, and I love the whole peaceful vibe of that. But anyway, um, but yeah, so I noticed a huge difference once I started to connect with them and connect with certain deities, like my sweet Philomena. That's what I call her, and that is Saint Martha la Dominadora. As you can see, I always like do something. I have her pants. I have an altar for her. You know, I remember. I remember things started to change when I started to, work with my ancestors. Like there'll be times where I almost lost my place, a few times actually, and something will always come through for me. You know, things really started to flourish and let me know. And I would always come to my altar and I would just be crying and be like, thank you guys. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where I would be, you know. And I started to work with the deities and stuff. And Kali Ma, I haven't started working with her heavy, but I remember I started to look her up, and I started to have she tried to come to me, I guess, because I started to close my eyes and I saw, I don't know, maybe I was staying up all night watching the videos and listening to the music and all that, but I remember I closed my eyes and I was in a deep meditative type of state, and I saw all kinds of colors when I closed my eyes. Next thing you know, I saw what I believed to be her eyes, and they were so sparkling and big and beautiful. And I saw like the cow the blue skinned statue and all the little piercings and all that stuff. I saw all that, and she was just smiling, and I was just looking at it, and I was just like, wow, this is cool. But yeah, she did. I believe she did come to me, but I didn't have enough altar space. I'm working on trying to get more altar space so that I can, uh, have room for the deities and stuff like that, and have altars set up for them. But I started to I put that on the back burner for a while. So I'll get back to you. But I started to fuck with Saint Martha, and I started to do a lot of research. Like I would stay up all night looking at her picture and reading about how she was like a patron of women and service working people. She's like the person like look after the underdog, and she punished men for hurting women. And when I mean, if you guys do research on her, like, it just kind of connected to me in a way. I started to connect to her energy, and I remember one night before I had started to furnish my daughter's room. It was kind of empty in that room, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to get into it, like start a relationship with her. So I was looking up how to do that and stuff like that. So basically, I came up with the idea that I'm just gonna get this candle and I'm gonna talk to her. So, um, oh yeah, she also, if you do the research on her, like she helps you not to be super rich, but helps you to get the basic necessities in life. If you're being mistreated in any way, she's very like a fierce mother. Mother, she is mother for real. She's a fierce mother to all of her deities. I mean her. I'm sorry, her devotees. She's a deity. Duh. Anyway, so I remember I had a candle with her, and I was burning some incense, and I sat on the floor. My daughter was sleeping. I sat on the floor, and I'm about to go inside. I got to fucking piss. Pissing the night away. Anyway, so I sit on the floor, and I looked at the candle, and I was just basically like, hey, I introduced myself. Basically, I talked to her like she my friend, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, I don't have any friends. I don't fuck with a lot of people. I want you to be my friend. Like, you know, I want to connect with you. I feel like I have a lot. I feel like I have a lot in common with you, and I like what you stand for, and I want to start a friendship with you, and blah 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 blah. So I'm just like pouring my heart out, and the candle flame started to get bigger and bigger, and it started to flicker, and it was to the point where like it was bright in the room because I'm just sitting in a dark room, and like it started to flicker, and it was going like this, like it was flickering and crackling and sparkling, and I was like, wow, I think I'm making a connection here. Wow, I was so mesmerized by it, but it was flickering and everything, and I'm just sitting there on the floor, you know, and it was just flickering, and it was just kind of making this like the room was kind of like going like the lights was going like this, like it was blinking, and it was an emotional moment. I kind of shedded a tear and just kind of like just poured my heart out and was just like, yo, I needed your friendship, and I wanted to make that connection with you. I feel like I am you, and you know what I mean, like whatever. And things had started to happen slowly for me because I was waiting for some monies, waiting for some things that was owed to me, and I would make, even though I was doing bad, I was trying to make as much offerings as I can, as long as you give her any kind of energy. And even when I didn't have anything to offer to her, I would just talk and be like, um, I don't have nothing right now, but I got you next time. And I would tell her what I'm waiting for and what I needed, and that energy would help me. So as I got deeper and deeper into my spiritual studies, I realized that you are the deities. I am her. You know what I mean? That people tend to religify things and be like, oh, I couldn't give this offering. Oh, she's gonna hurt me, and it tends to get really religified. And with the Orisha religion and all that, like it's starting to be very commercialized. So I, at first, when I was first starting out, of course, that's the first thing you go to is the Yoruba and all that. But it was starting to get too religified for me. But when I started to listen more to like Brother Panic and Bobby Hemming and stuff, and it was like, you are the deity, like don't religify it. They embody you. You don't have to be initiated into nothing or whatever like that. Like if you're drawn to it and you connect with it, then it's like that's you. And he talked about in his class how he asked people, I ask who my aunt is or whatever, and people will go into the scientific definition of my aunt or whatever. But the answer that he was essentially looking for was, oh, my aunt, that's my mama. Oh, that's like my auntie. So he was basically stressing the fact that these deities are you. They're you. We are all the deities. All we have to do is tap into that. So I am La Dominadora, or Philomena Lubana. I am her. I am Mami Wata. I am Yemaya. I am Oshun. I am all of those things. If I connect to it, if I'm drawn to it, if spirit leads me to it, you know. So, um, I recently bought some books, and I bought How to Work with Saints, and then I also got a book from S. Connolly called This is my current read right now. And I'm still wrapping up my other book with the Saints book. I'm still wrapping that up. Let me put this back in the bag. I'm still wrapping that up. But it's I'm definitely getting more deeper and deeper into my studies, and I feel like I'm gonna be a different person when this book is over with. Learning how to work with the demonic energy, to manifest and get the things that I want and the things that I need. So I gotta go right now, but I'm gonna start posting up some more videos on YouTube because I think this is better than social medias. Because I have a lot of people that I don't be having that much views and stuff. People like to watch me, but I think they scary as hell. They wait till after I post my video. It'd be a lot of fake, phony shit on social media, but I will discuss that in another video. But I feel like this is a better platform for me to do this on, so I'll be start posting a lot more videos and talk about my experiences. All right, you guys, peace.